feel their pain. The truth is out, the case is closed, but our search for justice never slows.
Hey everyone, happy Friday. Happy Friday. I had to think about what day it was. No, I did not, Lunatic Farmer. What was his name? Grant, right? Grant? I do have some updates though on Kimberly Sullivan and Kelly Bryant that we'll take a look at. So thanks for being here, everybody. I do appreciate it. I hope everything is going well. It is hot here today. I had to do some running around earlier, and it was 91 when I left my house. So summer is definitely here. So thanks for being here. I saw Ninja was here early. Oh, Ninja is always number one. Always. I don't think anyone else has ever been number one before in chat. Sunnyside, thanks for being here. And yes, our last story is going to be about a child, and he's not a little child. I mean, obviously a child is little, but I mean, it's absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Lunatic Farmer, thanks for being here. Coddle. Pookie, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Nanny. Oh, the storms aren't quite there yet, Pookie. Yeah, I did see that he was live. And I see, like, he'll show up in my feed every so often, but I haven't seen him in my feed in a while. So, oh gosh, Lunatic, 95 with a heat index of 110. Yuck. No, thank you. No, thank you. Hey, Pamela, thanks for being here. Yes, Ninja is number one in more ways than one. Yeah. All right, so we're going to get started. So for those of you who have not heard the names Kimberly Sullivan or Kelly Bryant, Kimberly Sullivan is a stepmother from Connecticut who is accused of holding her stepson captive for 20 plus years in order for, actually, scratch that. He thought to himself, it's time. He needed to get out. So he set a fire on purpose so that first responders would have to come rescue him. And he has changed his name, which I understand, to, keep his privacy. But Miss Sullivan's lawyer now wants his medical records to be released prior to the name change, which I can understand, because once he changes his name, apparently it's no longer relevant. So we have a clip on that. And then Kelly Bryant is a mom from Michigan who abandoned her children for 3 years and left them to fend for themselves. They were found in disgusting, deplorable conditions. They were dirty and just not well. She had her pretrial hearing today. So we're going to take a look at that. She is Sunnyside, blah, blah, blah. Kelly Bryant, actually her bond was decreased. It was lowered. So she is actually out on bond. So we'll take a look at that. And then we are going to look at the ICE raid in Ventura County yesterday at a Mary Jane farm. Actually, 2 Mary Jane farms. I had thought there was only 1 farm that had been raided, but there was 2. And there was clash with protesters. American citizens have been arrested, or I shouldn't say arrested, detained. it's just, and I'm not a big well, I'm not really political. I have my thoughts, but the one question I have is, I understand that many of these immigrants are here illegally. I get it. But who else is going to do the jobs that they do? Because it's my opinion that they have those jobs because no one else wants to do them. So not only is it going to be affecting those businesses, their profit, but it's also going to affect those who enjoy Mary Jane, because there won't be enough supply for the demand. Simple economics. Simple economics. I'm going to try to keep it non-political, though, because it's more of how it's being done as opposed to why it's being done, if that makes sense. I will say this, though, the only political thing I will say, I did watch the press, I don't want to say a press conference. I guess it was a press conference / roundtable with President Trump and other local leaders. The governor was there. Dr. Phil was there, which I found interesting. But anyways, the first question that was asked by reporters was about the emergency notification system. And she had said, do you think everything that could have been done was done? Or how do you think it was handled? And so he responded, I think they did a good job. And then he said that any person who would ask that question was not only a bad person, but an evil person. So I did clip it because I'm like, so what about, remember we looked at the press conference the other day? It must have been Wednesday because I didn't go live yesterday. On Wednesday, there was a woman who, was out of view and was asking the governor and like kind of just venting to him. And she wanted to know the same thing. So does that apply to everyone who has that question, that they are evil because they're asking that question? That just really made me angry, because they have the right to ask that question. And timelines are coming out. I know local officials are, they have their focus, and I understand that. Others have been coming out with the timeline. And notice from the National Weather Service came out around 1:30 a.m. 1:30 a.m. So that's for another time, though. That's for another time. So that's it for my soapbox on politics. But when I heard that question and then the response from Mr. Trump, I was not entertained. I was not entertained. All right, so let's get started. So first thing we've got, there we go. Oh no. First thing we have is Kimberly Sullivan and Sunnyside. And then after that, I screen recorded. I was screen recording and then worked on the short quick. So I didn't hear the remaining questions, but I will go back and watch. I only caught like maybe 20 minutes. So I'll go back and listen, but that was, yeah. One more thing. And the way he said it, he's like, I don't know who you are, but any person who would ask that question is a bad person. An evil person would ask that question. And I'm like, wow. I guess he hasn't watched the other press conferences where that is the most important question being asked by people. So anyway, so Kimberly Sullivan, she did have a motion hearing, I believe it was Wednesday. And so we're going to take a look at this. This is from News Nation, and they do talk to her attorney. So we'll kind of just get an update on her.
Authorities say for 2 decades, from age 11 to age 32, the boy who became a young man was starved and tortured. In the end, police say he saved himself by setting his own room on fire. And first responders carried him to safety. They said it wasn't that hard because he only weighed 68 pounds, their description.
And I forgot when I was watching this before the live, just to see, what exactly it entailed. And I forgot the fact that he was 68 pounds. And I believe he was 5'7" or 5'8". Although maybe he was 5'9". I can't remember now. But either way, he was very much underweight.
We've been on this story since it broke back in February, and you probably remember the victim's stepmother pleaded not guilty to kidnapping, assault, and cruelty, among other crimes. But now her attorney says news reports are one thing, but he wants to see the evidence that the state has against his client.
There's a claim that he was starved, near death. We've heard about Holocaust. I haven't seen anything to support that. So if those...
And that makes me, wonder about whether or not, I'm not sure if they're in the discovery phase. I'm assuming they are, since he's asking for, to see the medical records. But I would think that this attorney would have seen pictures of this man and his condition. I don't know how all that works, if he would have to wait until discovery to see images of this man and what his physical state was, because we also know that his hair was severely matted. He hadn't taken a shower. I believe it was a year, maybe 2 years. He had to use newspapers in order to clean up after himself after defecating. He used a straw that he put out a window in order to get rid of his urine. I mean, there has to be something that this lawyer has seen that would indicate that something was wrong in this house. Yeah, so Nanny says, I don't like this dude, the attorney. And I get it, but this is his job. And, I don't know how anyone could represent someone like this, but it's their job. And, it's a high profile case. So I think that probably has something to do with it. To what I understand, she is fairly wealthy. So, if he's the best of the best, yeah, he is really defending her. Oh, right. The locks on the outside of the bedroom door, he had books. I know he had a few books, and then he really self-taught himself. He's just, he's reaching, as they say.
Those are the claims they're making at trial. We'd like to see it.
So what's the holdup in turning over the victim's medical records? Officials say the man has changed his name to protect his privacy. And to continue protecting his privacy, they need to purge his new name.
I actually missed that part. So he's already changed his name, which in that case, medical records would have been purged. I feel like there would be some type of preservation of records when it came to something like this. But as we know, there weren't really any medical records because he hadn't seen a doctor in at least 15 years, if not more.
Came from all the files. The accused woman's name is Kimberly Sullivan, and Sullivan's lawyer, Yanis Kaloidis, joins me now live. Good to have you back on the show. Thanks so much for coming back, Yanis. Let me start here. The notion that you would like discovery in order to prove that perhaps the reports are wrong, that this alleged victim is 68 pounds. The police, the firefighters, the victim himself all said 68 pounds. Do you think that they're lying?
Well, I don't know that they're lying, but I haven't actually seen anything to support this. And I know that everyone's talking about the 68 pounds, and I think it's something that makes a good soundbite. But as of right now, it really doesn't mean too much to me. I've seen no records to support it. I've seen no medical records.
And I can agree with him on that. All right, Sunnyside, have a good one. I can agree with him on that because it's his job to get all of the information that he can in order to defend his client. And I would want to see the proof too, especially because he was not there. He wasn't at the house. He wasn't at the hospital or the treatment center where this man went. So I can understand him wanting to see the records. Absolutely.
The state is going to have to do more than say he was 68 pounds. How did he get there? Why did he get there? And if they're going to put it on my client, there has to be some evidence of it.
So the other issue is without medical records, and understandably, that's a big piece of all of this. There are police reports, there are body cam videos, and there are interviews, and they show this young man to be extraordinarily thin, terribly dirty, and very unkempt. Is that not satisfactory?
Yeah, so he was dirty, he was unkempt, he was thin. That doesn't mean my client committed a crime.
Hey, hard times.
There has to be something more.
Right, Nanny, I was just going to pause and say that because they have the police reports, but to my understanding, maybe not law enforcement or the hospital would have taken photos as documentation. The law enforcement released photos of the home, so they have to have photos of this man, I would think.
We understand his weight was low. I recognize he hadn't showered or wouldn't clean himself. I recognize that, but that doesn't mean my client's committed an offense. So, and we.
What? Hold on. I need to rewind that because I'm pretty sure he just said that the man wouldn't clean himself. Well, it's kind of hard to clean yourself when you're not allowed out of a room, sir. Hey, Burden, what's going on? Yeah, I agree, Burden. I said the same thing. I mean, it's definitely his job to have all evidence. And that's why I want to know, like, why wouldn't they have, I don't know. I understand this man wanting to change his name. And I also think that people knew he was going to change his name. The courts knew he was going to change his name. So why wasn't the information preserved? The medical records, anything related to his, I guess, dead name. Yeah, Nanny, his teeth were rotten. Yeah, I mean, just terrible.
But that doesn't mean my client's committed an offense. So, and we have those reports, but until I see medical records, until I see anything else that really ties this together, it means really nothing.
So the issues about the medical records, the fact that This young man has changed his name, and the authorities say in order to turn over medical records to you, they need to redact, and that could take a lot of time. Is that a legitimate excuse for the delay in you getting any medical records, or do you think there's something nefarious at hand?
Well, I don't think there's anything nefarious at hand where I don't think there's anything improper going on with the delay. I'm not making any accusation of that sort. As far as
But my question would be, right, so his older name, his name prior is no longer his name. So why would they have to redact it? Because, I mean, that name, that person doesn't exist anymore. Obviously, you know, the courts would know who it is, but that's interesting that they would have to redact it. Although I guess it's, you know, for the public, if public were to get those records, they would be able to have the name. I don't know. It just, I have a lot of questions. True Marie, he had a social security number and there's a birth certificate in City Hall. Bob says, just throwing out a possible defense here. Perhaps he had himself his own eating disorder that he had been battling with. This is why he needs to see all the records. Yeah, I feel like the weight thing is the least of this attorney's problems. I mean, there's so much more. And the fact that, you know, Miss Sullivan is blaming her late husband, who was this man's father, that kind of irks me too, because she's using someone who's passed away as her excuse. That's the way he wanted the kid raised. Well, the dad had been dead over a year.
the delay and the time, the reality is our courts are overworked. Most prosecutors' office, public defender's offices,
I agree with
they have a
that.
large caseload. So things take a very long time. We are a little frustrated with the pace of this, but I don't believe the state's attorney's office is doing anything improper. They're trying to be cautious, which is understandable. My issue is with the redaction itself, the desire to redact the name. I don't think that's appropriate.
You want to see that name. Okay, I understand that.
And I actually, that's what I just said. I don't think there's a need to redact the name because that person no longer exists.
I have a question for you. We just saw a picture of you with your client. It's been 4 months since Kimberly Sullivan has been arrested and has been out on bond. What is life like for her right now? Is she getting out into the community? Has anything happened? Has she?
I wouldn't show my face, honestly.
Her in her community?
Well, life's been very difficult for her because her face has been published all over the place. She's under a great deal of scrutiny. She does not spend a lot of time in the Waterbury area for her own safety and for her own privacy. It's been extremely stressful on her.
Oh. And I think that was it. They kind of like cut it off. So that's why it did that. All right. So there is an update on, yeah, difficult for her. I mean, she had to expect it. I mean, maybe she didn't expect it. I don't think she thought she'd get caught. I think she thought that man would die there. That's just me. Yeah, so many factors. I mean, definitely, I'm going to have to go back and kind of revisit the case too, because the locks on the door. And I think it was Nanny had said she wanted her daughter to help her get the locks off. She called her daughter to come over before she called 911 when the house was on fire. Like, come on, lady. And then she was more worried about her dog being scared than the fact that her stepson was rescued from inside the house on fire. Just craziness. Yeah, me too, Marie. I hope the man is receiving all the care and help he needs and finds love from others. Agree. All right, so there's our update on Kimberly Sullivan. So now just a quick update on Kelly Bryant, and then we'll get into the ICE situation. 1 second. Alexa, stop. She's not listening to me. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I had to yell at her to stop. Hey, Twist, how are ya? The sketchy always making sure they have that cross showing. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Huh. Her hair is colored and she's wearing makeup like she's ready to go out for the night. Yeah, the stepmom. Oh no, Alexa. Yeah. I keep forgetting to change my reminder. I have on there because when I was working, I would do my rebounder at 6 p.m. So I need to change it so that it's not 6 p.m. anymore. And I keep forgetting to change the reminder. All right. So Kelly Bryant, for those of us who may not know who Kelly Bryant is, she is a mom who abandoned her 3 kids for 3 years in a apartment condo. She was living up her best life while her kids were hungry, dirty. I remember in the reports they weren't able to walk very well because their toenails were so long. The bathtub was filled with feces. The plumbing did not work. She would drop off a loaf of bread once a week, if that. She might have things door dashed to the home, things like that, food delivery. But otherwise, she had nothing to do with her children. Yeah, what the F is right, Coddle. So Oakland County mom accused of abandoning kids back in court for hearing after being released on bond. Kelly Bryant was in court for a pre-trial conference on July 10th, which was yesterday. And I forgot to link the full hearing. If you wanted to watch the full hearing, let me put this link in chat. I had thought about showing it, but the article was easier to understand what was happening. So the Oakland County mom, who is accused of abandoning her 3 children for years, appeared in court for a pretrial conference on Thursday. This comes after she was released from jail on bond in June. Kelly Bryant, 34, of Pontiac, has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse after authorities found her 3 children, a 15-year-old boy, a 13-year-old girl, and a 12-year-old girl, living alone in squalor. She also faces welfare fraud charges. And I believe it was, for some reason, I have like 20-some thousand. Let me just see if I can find it quick. I don't remember the dollar amount. Yes, I was close. $29,397 from January 2022 to February 2025. She scammed the welfare department. The pretrial hearing was held before Oakland County Circuit Court Judge Mary Ellen Brennan on Thursday, July 10th. During the hearing, the judge denied Bryant's motion to quash Judge Cynthia Thomas Walker's ruling to bind the case over to circuit court. Brennan found that Walker did not abuse her discretion during the preliminary examination and said, "There's no question in the court's mind that to a probable cause standard, the testimony that was presented in front of Judge Walker supported that the crime was committed and that to a probable cause standard, she, or Bryant, committed it." Bryant's attorney, Cecilia, said the defense team will likely file an interlocutory appeal, which is an appeal of a ruling while the case is still moving forward. I gotta look up how to pronounce this word. That's gonna bother me. How do you say interlocutory? So it's pronounced just as it's spelled. Interlocutory. It just seems like there's 6 syllables in that word. Maybe that's why it's hard to pronounce. Hey, Be Real, thanks for being here. Hey, Curious, good to see you. Okay, so we read that. So interlocutory. Another pretrial conference was scheduled for Thursday, July 24th at 1:30 p.m., but that could change if an interlocutory appeal does get filed. Bryant was released from jail on bond on June 5th, and during this pretrial conference, the judge read a note from pretrial supervision regarding her compliance with bond conditions. The mother has been compliant. I wouldn't call her a mother. Miss Bryant has been compliant with her weekly check-ins, had no GPS tether violations, and understood her bond conditions according to the note. Before this hearing, Bryant last appeared in court on Friday, May 16th, 2025, for her preliminary examination. During that hearing, a judge ruled that there was enough evidence to bind Bryant over to circuit court to stand trial on the child abuse and welfare fraud charges. Here are the details we learned about the case during her preliminary examination on May 16th, 2025. Okay, so just as a little reminder, during Bryant's preliminary examination, several witnesses testified, including a deputy who found the children after being called to the Pontiac home for a welfare check in February 2025. He talked about the horrific conditions of the home and said he thought they'd be checking the home for a dead body due to the foul odor inside. Interlocutory. Oh, see, it told me that there's 6 syllables. Yeah, it's saying, and it actually breaks it down. It says interlocutory. Yeah. Weird. Emphasis on the 3rd syllable. Actually, let me play this video quick. Can I play it from here? Interlocutory. All right. Well, I learned a new word today, so that's good. An Oakland County investigator testified about extracting data from phones in connection with Bryant's case. In Bryant's phone, she had the oldest child saved as my oldest, and the younger 2 children were saved in her phone as Kid 1 and Kid 2. I forgot about that. She also shared several text messages that had been sent between Bryant and her oldest child. Okay, so I did share this article, so if you're interested in reading the rest, definitely take a look, but that is the update in the case of Miss Kelly Bryant. So they had said July 24th. Yes, July 24th is her next. I'm just going to write that down. 24th is her next court date. But it may change if the interlocutory appeal gets filed. Let me look up what that is. It kind of explained it, but let me just Google that. Okay, so it says an interlocutory appeal is an appeal of a non-final order issued during a legal case before the case is completely resolved by the trial court. These appeals are generally rare because appellate courts prefer to review cases after a final judgment has been reached. So it doesn't really explain what it is, but it says it does not settle all of the issues of a case and where the further action by the court is needed to settle the controversy. Okay. I know, Curious. Those kids are going to need a lot of love and attention. Absolutely. Yeah, I hope so too, Be Real. I mean, she was this woman was living her best life. All right, so those are our updates. So what I have for the remainder of this live, we do have several videos related to the ICE raids, specifically in Ventura County yesterday at 2 Mary Jane farms, where it became very, what's the word I want to use? Tense. So there were protesters and federal agents. Also, I hadn't realized, I was watching a man on TikTok who he was speaking Spanish, so I couldn't understand what he was saying for the most part, but he was like right in the thick of it. So it definitely gave a sense of what the atmosphere was like, what, people were thinking. It actually was more quiet than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be like very loud and, maybe, I guess it did get that way. But when I was watching, it seemed pretty peaceful. It wasn't, the protesters were just refusing to move. So tear gas, was released to push the protesters back. But then once the tear gas wore off, the protesters would come back, more tear gas, and eventually it was like this big cloud of tear gas. Big cloud. So this first clip is from today. Mayor Bass signed an executive directive for immigrants. So this I found very interesting myself.
So much. Mayor Karen Bass is taking action against what she calls unlawful raids by the federal government.
NBC4's Brittany Hope is live in downtown LA this morning with.
Yes, this is the Ventura farm. Yep, we're the undocumented minors. And it was green. What was it called? Green tree? Let me see. Oh, it wasn't even close to what I was thinking. It was Glass House Marijuana Farm. It was it says indoor cannabis farm, was one of 2 Glass House properties raided by federal officers yesterday. In Camarillo, about 40 minutes away, the other enforcement operation drew hundreds of protesters outside the 5.5 million square foot facility. Oh no, is this an update? Oh, I gotta read that. Okay, let's watch this first, and then I'll get to that article. That's really sad, actually.
The new executive directive she's set to sign this morning. Brittany.
Yeah, hey, good morning, everyone. So there are 2 big immigration-related items that are happening here in the city of Los Angeles today. So first is that executive directive, and the mayor says it's going to help the immigrant community being impacted by these raids. She'll announce more on that coming up at 8 o'clock. Now, the other immigration-related thing that's happening that's included with the city of LA that we're waiting on is a decision from a federal judge that could temporarily block Homeland Security from doing raids across SoCal.
Hey, Jersey,
Mayor
how's it
Karen Bass
going?
says this comes after what happened at MacArthur Park on Monday. Federal agents marched through the park where children were going to a summer camp. LA.
Oh, I heard about, I actually just read a few days ago about ICE going to a children's summer camp to try and find undocumented minors. So Be Real says, I live near a Latina community. It's not unusual for minors to work. I feel bad for them. And it was it Florida where they were going to have like 13 and 14-year-olds, like high schoolers, start working the fields after school? I think that's where it was. Let me see. They were going to work the farms because there's no one to work them anymore. Wow, it actually says in Florida, children as young as 12 can work on farms with some restrictions. Yes, so it says Florida bill would strip certain labor protections for teen workers. Oh, here we go. Florida debates lifting some child labor laws to fill jobs vacated by undocumented immigrants. And this was from March 2025. So it says Florida has been working for years to crack down on employers that hire undocumented immigrants, but that presented a problem for businesses in the state that are desperate for workers to fill low-wage and often undesirable jobs. Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis and the state legislature have a potential solution: children. The state's legislature on Tuesday advanced a bill that would loosen child labor laws, allowing children as young as 14 years old to work overnight shifts. If the new law is passed, teenagers would be able to work overnight jobs on school days. They are currently prevented from working earlier than 6:30 a.m. or later than 11 p.m. per state law. I can't imagine being a teenager in school working an overnight shift. I don't know, Jersey. Let me see if it says when it's supposed to go to. Okay, so it says the bill passed through the Florida Senate's Commerce and Tourism Committee on Tuesday with 5 votes in favor of the loosened child labor restrictions and 4 against them. The bill will pass through 2 other relevant committees before being put to a vote with the full Florida Senate. So that was back in March. DeSantis is supportive of the law and has been vocal of cracking down on immigration. However, economists have warned that could backfire, sparking further inflation and labor shortages. Let's see. I just want to see if it says. Okay, so it does say, though, the state has been easing up on child labor protections for years. Last year, the legislature passed a law allowing homeschooled 16 and 17-year-old teens to work any hour of the day. The state Republican-led legislature on Tuesday will debate the new law, which also includes a number of changes, including eliminating working time restrictions on teenagers aged 14 and 15 if they are homeschooled, and ending guaranteed meal breaks for 16 and 17-year-olds. What? So if they work a whole shift, they can't have a meal break? What? That is wild. Hey, Lulu, thanks for being here. Hey, Oki, how's it going? It says the number of child labor violations in Florida has nearly tripled in recent years, according to U.S. Department of Labor statistics. But it doesn't say when. That was back in March. Let me see if I can find. News. Let me sort by date and see if there's anything newer. Okay, so May 6th, Newsweek. Let's see. Newsweek says, okay, so it was updated on June 11th. So just about, exactly a month ago. Okay, so it says Jersey was right. A bill that would have loosened child labor laws in Florida has died in the state Senate. The proposal came as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis touted using teenagers as a replacement for the labor of migrants who are in the country illegally. Well, there we go. Jersey was right. It didn't go anywhere. Hey, Glow. Good to see you. Lulu, I actually was wondering the same thing today. Like, why are they always cover their faces? Why are they hiding? Show your badge in the warrant. Like, why is it a secret who they are?
Plus 7 other cities, the ACLU, argue the Trump administration is violating constitutional protections against unreasonable searches and seizures in their raids.
And I agree with that. And we're going to see that in one of the clips that were the last clip on this situation that I have for today. A 71-year-old woman, a U.S. citizen, was searched without a warrant. So I agree with that. They are violating American citizens' constitutional rights in their effort to get undocumented immigrants.
They allege federal agents are racially profiling people and using too much force against protesters. On the other side, the feds say their officers and agents are under attack for simply enforcing federal law. Mayor Bass argues, though, that enforcement itself is the problem.
We have to use every means possible, because if you want to see this stopped and you rule out anything that anyone is doing, then basically you're surrendering. And I'm not willing to surrender. And I'm going to fight on every way possible. And a legal strategy is a strategy to fight the administration.
The judge again expected to release her decision today. As for Mayor Karen Bass, make sure you join us at 8 o'clock on the NBC Los Angeles News Channel, wherever you stream, for her announcement on that executive directive. Reporting live outside LA City Hall, Brittany Hope for Today in LA.
So maybe we will hear, let me see, because that clip was only from 2 hours ago. Mayor Bass. Let's see if there's any update before we move on. All right, so it says, I don't know if I can read this one. All right, so nothing from, the rule judgment from the courts. So Twist says, I feel they are wearing masks, as are some, quote, protesters, to protect their families, not just themselves. Possibly. Oh my gosh, Jersey. That's so sad and scary, too. Every day is a struggle. I know. And to even have to think about, what happens to your babies when you're possibly deported. I mean, there's a lot of children in that situation right now. All right, so Do I want to go? Actually, I'm going to wait to read this article until we get through a couple of these. So it has to do with like what happened after. Okay, so these next couple of clips are from yesterday, which I started watching on TikTok. There were actually a couple of creators live on TikTok showing what was happening. And because I think it was one of the news stations was, the helicopter was videoing, but there was no audio. So I'm like, I'm not going to sit here in silence and listen, or to watch, I should say. So I don't think it's this one. The next one, they do have like gunshots, which may be triggering. But this
Welcome
one
back. A new video tonight shows protests in Ventura County after an immigration raid.
Items were thrown between agents and protesters. People were even seen throwing rocks at federal vehicles.
And see, that I don't agree with. Like, if you're going to protest. But to be throwing rocks and damaging vehicles, that kind of stuff, like, that's not protesting. That's, no, I don't agree with it, but that's just me.
Vehicles at close range. Tonight, questions remain about who was targeted in this latest raid.
Yeah, it happened at a cannabis farm as the White House reveals more of its immigration plan. Here's the latest tonight from Aaron Kotursky.
Tonight, a dramatic scene northwest of Los Angeles. Protesters clashing with masked federal.
This is where I had started watching. So you see the line of federal agents, and then you see this group of protesters, and they're in this line. They've got their gas masks on. It's just
agents conducting immigration raids at a cannabis farm in Ventura County.
They have a lot of personnel. I think there's like almost 100 people down there. Yeah, they got K9 and everything.
Crowds quickly gathering.
Oh my God!
The federal agents setting off smoke canisters and irritants to disperse them.
Right now, they're popping off tear gas canisters, and folks are just running like crazy, and it's just chaos out here. I'm going to have to get out of the way, folks.
Dozens of men lined against the wall, heavily armed agents standing guard. At least one person is seen kneeling on the ground, seemingly under arrest. Another large-scale immigration raid in nearby Santa Barbara County targeted a second cannabis farm owned.
Oh, and I misspoke. I thought they were both in Ventura County. One of them was in Santa Barbara County. So that was my fault.
By the same company. Last week, President Trump told a crowd in Iowa there would be carve-outs to allow farmers to vouch for their workers.
Because we don't want to do it where we take all of the workers off the farms. We want the farms to do great like they're doing right now.
This week, the Secretary of Agriculture said there would be no amnesty for any farm workers.
So no amnesty under any circumstances. Mass deportations continue, but in a strategic and intentional way as we move our workforce toward more automation and toward a 100% American workforce.
Tonight.
But, and I'm going to try to keep this as unpolitical as I can. She had said an automated workforce, and to keep it as fully American, to have it fully American. The reason that these immigrants and migrants hold these jobs is because Americans don't want them. I mean, and actually maybe some Americans do. So my question then would be, what percentage of U.S. citizens hold these types of jobs? So working the fields, picking strawberries, picking whatever. I would like to know. Actually, let me ask Google. I don't know if Google will know. How many Americans hold farming jobs? Okay, so that didn't really answer my question. I didn't. Oh, that's why. I should have said what percentage. I said how many. What percentage? That didn't really answer my question. Oh, here. What percent of Americans work in agricultural fields? I don't think that's going to answer my question either. Because it says in the United States, less than 2% of the workforce is directly employed in agriculture. I think that just means like what? Oh, here it says at least 40% of crop workers in the United States do not have legal status. 40%. That's a lot. So it says agriculture and food sectors employ 22.1 million people. 22.1 million. Which, if you think about 40%, let's just say 20 million to keep it easy. 40% of 2 million is 800,000. 800,000 people would be undocumented. So you take away 800,000 people. That's a lot of empty positions. Hey, Cheese, how's it going? Hey, Sinner. Citizen, thanks for coming in. Yes, and to be fully American, it would include migrant workers. Yeah, 40% it says. And that was a year ago. A year ago. Although this one, I don't know what the Economic Policy Institute is, but according to them, U.S.-born citizens working on crop farms is 30%. Which means migrant workers or immigrants would be working 70%. That's more than half the workforce.
Border Czar Tom Homan saying the administration is still talking about farm workers.
I can tell you that there's a lot of people talking in here. Department of Labor, Department of Agriculture, Department of Homeland Security, talking about options. Nothing's been settled.
That was Aaron Katersky reporting. Tonight, Governor Newsom shared video from a raid on a farm saying kids were running from tear gas and crying because their mother was just taken. And, quote, Trump calls me new scum, but he's the real scum. Governor Newsom's words there.
Ooh, I don't know how Governor Newsom is as a governor in California, but I will say that I like his banter. I do like his banter. So Twist had said 4 to 5 years earlier. So this is from someplace called the Wilson Center, and this was June 2020. So that's about 5 years ago. The share of migrants rose from 40% in the early 1990s to 55% in 2000 before dropping below 20% recently. All right, let me click on this and see what. And then I didn't even think this is talking about like salary or the wages. So it says the average employment of hired workers in the U.S. agriculture is about 1.5 million, and there are 2.5 million individuals employed for wages on U.S. farms sometime during a typical year. Some 2 million workers, 80% of all farm workers, are employed on crop farms. About 70% of the farm workers born in Mexico are unauthorized, making half of all farm workers unauthorized. Farm workers earnings of about $14 an hour are almost 60% of average non-farm earnings of $24, up from 50% a decade ago. Oh, let's see. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics has a table. Why can't I click on it? Let's see. No, I'm not going to be able to find it because they just sent me to a web page that isn't what they showed on that page. Let's see. Let me do word search. Nope. Well, that's a bummer. I wanted to look at your table and you wouldn't let me. I can't click on it. All right, but I hope that kind of gives you some insight into how many workers, how many job openings there are going to be that, in my opinion, Americans are not, actually, let me rephrase that. American citizens are not going to fill for $14 an hour. Twist, dude is no good at trash talk. Say no, is that the TikTok girl? They would make a month in other countries what they make here in an hour. Right. Yeah. But I'm not sure how many people want to work for, hours at a time for $14 an hour in the fields. I don't know. Definitely a contentious. Okay, so this one, just a trigger warning. There are like gunshot noises. Curious says, guy on an interview has been deported 3 times. He keeps coming back. He was making $6K a year in Mexico compared to $60K here in construction. Dang. That's making 10 times as much. 10 times as much. Minimum wage. I think it depends on the state. The federal minimum wage in the United States is $7.25 per hour. But states have established their own. So if we look at, let's see, I think New York is up to 15 something. Oh, yeah. Okay, so as of January 1st, 2025, the minimum wage is $16.50 per hour for New York City, Long Island, and Westchester, and $15.50 per hour for the remainder of New York State. I remember when I got my first job, it was at McDonald's. I was making $4.25 an hour. $4.25 an hour. $14.81. Why would they put a 1 at the end? Like, why not just $14.80? So let's look up California. So California minimum wage. Okay, so California's statewide minimum wage is $16.50 per hour as of January 1st, 2025 for all employers regardless of size. Certain industries like fast food and healthcare have higher minimum wages. Additionally, some cities and counties have set their own minimum wages, which may be higher than the state minimum. However, if you are undocumented, I would assume, and this is, a big assume, that employers could make up their own wage. Oh, and it does say Los Angeles County, the minimum wage is $17.81 an hour. That was as of July 1st, 2025. San Francisco, $19.18 per hour as of July 2025. Emeryville, $19.90 an hour. And Long Beach, $18.58 an hour for some workers, $25 an hour for others. So, and that makes sense that California is higher than New York because it's way more expensive to live out there than it is here. So Americans get half dollars an hour because they pay taxes. So, well, it depends on where you live. So, for example, let's say you make $15 an hour and you work 40 hours a week. That's $600 a week. So depending on, you pay federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare. I have teacher union dues, insurance, like health insurance, dental, vision. But you pay, it depends on your state. And then, I just know I get a lot of takes. My paycheck decreases about $800 or $900. Yeah. So, Citizen first job was Dunkin' Donuts. Oh my goodness, Nanny. Tennessee minimum wage is $7.25. So that's the federal wage. I can't imagine living off of $7.25 an hour. Twist says my first job was Hot Sam's Pretzel Bakery. That's quite a mouthful. No, Sunnyside. The claw story is going to be the last one. I'm telling you, it is the most bizarre story I have covered, for sure. Okay, so just another reminder, there is gunshots at the beginning of this clip, so viewer discretion advised.
A dramatic crash near Camarillo. A federal agent seen dropping flashbangs into a crowd of protesters during a raid of a cannabis field. The confrontation becoming violent in the heat of the day. Demonstrators seen throwing rocks at agents' vehicles, and one unidentified man repeatedly punched and kicked by protesters before leaving the area. Eyewitness News reporter.
Yeah, see, that's not okay. That's not okay. Like, if you're going to protest, but to throw stuff, to physically assault people, not cool. Not cool at all. Not cool.
Leanne Suter live at the scene that is still active tonight. Leanne.
Mark, it certainly is.
Oh my gosh, curious. There are 20 or more states at $7.25. And when you think about it, so I made $4.25 back in 1992. 30 years ago. 30 plus years ago. That's $3. So yeah, so say 30 years, that's $1 per year. Minimum wage, federally, minimum wage has raised. I don't even know if there's a word. Oh, really, Sinner? My first job was as a paper boy. I made pennies.
And here's some of the protesters here behind me. A handful remain. I'll show you them here on this side of the farm. They are posted on both sides of this massive farm, as are federal agents who remain on the scene. You can see them farther down the road here. Border Patrol says that it served a warrant on the farm today because it's accused of hiring and harboring undocumented workers.
And the other thing with minimum wage too, the one thing is that I've noticed is that a lot of employers, especially like fast food, things like that, they will not hire you full time because then they would have to pay insurance or health care. So they will hire you as part-time so they don't have to, pay benefits. I think it's 30 hours a week as part-time.
Screams and chaos as federal agents throw tear gas and flashbangs into the crowd in a face-off with protesters during an immigration raid at a cannabis farm outside Camarillo.
We were speaking our minds like we can as U.S. citizens. We have tear gas, being pepper-based pump.
All of a sudden, we started shooting and throwing rubber bullets at us, tear gas, and it's been a few times with us just standing there.
The massive enforcement reportedly involving ICE and the National Guard. The target, Glass House Farms, which bills itself as the
that is a huge facility. Wow. Holy moly. Yeah, Twist hasn't raised enough to barely keep your head above water. Yeah, and then without healthcare benefits, let's just say they did work 40 hours a week. So that's $300 a week without taxes taken out. If you worked 40 hours a week, let's say you're part-time, that would be $225 a week before taxes are taken out, no benefits. All right, and let's see, 52, let me do times 52. That's 11,000. So if you work part-time, 30 hours a week, $11,700 a year. If you worked 40 hours a week at $7.50. Oh, wait, I put $7.50. It's $7.25. Shit. So it's actually less than that. Okay, so if you worked full time at $7.25 an hour, you'd make $15,080 per year before taxes. Like, I can't even fathom being able to survive on that. And if it was part-time, you'd make $11,310. That's sickening. Yeah, cost of living, it's expensive here in New York. Not as expensive as California, but it's up there. Okay, so Chi says the Taco Bell I had lunch at today has positions starting at $23 an hour. Okay. If you could promise me 50 hours per week, I can make $7.50 per hour work. And that's why I think, and even so, really, those migrants and working those fields, maybe they are making $7.25 an hour. They're just, these employers are paying them the minimum. Yeah, that's true, Nanny. A lot of places pay more than that, but I feel like some of them will, I'm wondering how they find them. Oh, it must have been something they said on the clip I I don't remember what they said. That's true, Twist. The more you make, the more they take. Unless you are a billionaire, and then they take less. Or you can just write everything off. So there's that. All right, let me just rewind this a little bit.
Throwing rubber bullets at us, tear gas, and it's been a few times with us just standing there.
The massive enforcement reportedly involving ICE and the National Guard. The target, Glass House Farms, which bills itself as the largest cannabis growing operation in the world, employing hundreds of people.
They're working jobs that nobody wants to work.
And she's right. They're working jobs that no one else wants to work.
The people that voted for this, they wouldn't work in the fields like how field workers are working.
I have family, I have friends, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, you know, it's workers.
Shortly after ICE moved in, numerous protesters showed up trying to stop officers from taking busloads of workers away. Some targeting vehicles with rocks and dirt.
And I did just look up how many employees Glass House Farms has. And so this is from Google. According to Zoom Info, Glass House Farms has 290 employees. Other sources, however, specifically referring to Glass House Brands Incorporated, which is the parent company of Glass House Farms, report a slightly higher number. Yahoo Finance states that Glass House Brands has 321 full-time employees. Zoom Info also indicates it has 362 employees. So either way, it's about 300 people that are employed here. And if we look at, about half, 150 of those 300 are allegedly undocumented, according to statistics.
The violent clash between federal agents and activists drawing a stern reaction from President Trump's border czar.
When you cross a line on impeding us, you're going to be arrested. If you cross the line and put hands on an ICE officer, zero tolerance, you're going to be arrested.
Wait, border czar? Is that a real thing? Border czar? I have never heard that before. What? There's an so he's the actual border czar? That is a job title? I just Googled it. What? I'm learning all kinds of things today. Hey, Snarks, how are ya? The federal minimum wage was last increased in 2009, which is the longest period of no change since they implemented minimum wages. Wow. Wow, almost 20 years. That's craziness. That is true too. Curious. I hadn't thought of that. The illegal workers won't be on their books. Sinner says, I tend to think that there should be an uprising if your government begins to rounding people up. It's un-American. It also reminds me of Hitler.
So yell and scream all you want. You're not going to stop ICE from doing our job.
Protesters vowing to continue their efforts to fight for those being detained.
We just take them out. They're literally the Nazis of 2025. This is the United States of America. And we don't have the military come in and just disappear our people. People have rights in this country.
And tonight we talked to several people who they were waiting to find out what had happened to their parents. 2 young girls we saw in tears, desperate to try to track down their mother. They said they had.
And what happens to all of these orphans whose parents are deported? Who takes care of the kids who are U.S. citizens? Foster parents? Are they gonna establish orphanages again?
heard from her yet, and they don't know where she was going to go or what may happen to her. At this point, it's unclear just how many people were detained in this effort. Also tonight, unclear exactly how long those federal agents will remain here on the scene. Live near Camarillo, Liam Suter, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Leanne. A new development tonight surrounding this video from Air 7 that appears to show this protester firing or aiming some sort of a gun at federal agents. This happened during that chaotic scene this afternoon. Tonight, the FBI announcing a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to a conviction of the man seen here in this video. It looks like he fired it at least a couple of times. No reports of anyone being hit by gunfire.
Yeah,
Down a video from another
not
immigration operation in Carpinteria. This happened at a Glass House Farm location. Congressman Salud Carbajal of Santa Barbara County was denied entry when he tried to get past federal agents onto that property. It's still not clear how many people were taken by federal agents at this location.
Wow, a U.S. congressman, and they're telling him he can't go in there. Unbelievable. Wild, wild. I still can't get over the border czar. I'm going to have to look into the border czar a little more. Oh, here's an article from today. And I know I said I wasn't going to get political. This isn't really political, but this has to do with like just being a human. So this is from MSNBC because I had looked up, border czar. And this article was from today. White House border czar suggests ICE can detain people based on, quote, physical appearance. Isn't that the same thing that Hitler did? Nearly 6 months into his tenure as the White House's border czar, in quotes, Tom Homan has made a great many controversial public comments about everything from due process to prosecuting news organizations to his curious focus on Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. But we're often reminded that his rhetorical record is still growing. Okay, so he says, people need to understand ICE officers and Border Patrol don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them based on their physical appearance. Excuse me, sir. What? See you, Twist. Have a good one. This dude. Okay, that's all I need to know about this guy. All right. All right, so I think this might be the last. I have 3 more clips on this. This next clip is the last one about the raid in Ventura County, and then I have 2 stories of American citizens who were detained and questioned. One of them, a disabled veteran, and the other, a 71-year-old woman. Yes, Sinner, exactly. He's exactly wrong. That's exactly opposite of what the Constitution says. That's dangerous talk. Like, what the heck? Like, dude has a complex. I'm sorry.
Federal immigration agents conducted a massive raid yesterday in Camarillo, targeting workers at 2 different cannabis farms. The sweep sparked a tense standoff between protesters and law enforcement. KTLA's Carlos Ferreira live now in Camarillo with the details. Carlos, good morning.
Hi, Jess. Good morning. We're seeing a number of things here this morning. First of all, a lot of cars that were left abandoned by those workers who were actually detained by agents during the yesterday's raid. We're also seeing loved ones. A lot of people here waiting to get some type of news, some type of updates on those family members, those workers who they say may still be hiding inside this facility, the Glass House Farms property here in Camarillo. We know many of them ran away from agents as they carried out the raid, and many of them actually hid successfully.
Wow.
This is,
and I can't imagine being that afraid of
the moment Jesus Martinez reunited with his family. He spent almost 24 hours hiding from federal agents inside the facility. His sister and niece Jennifer hadn't heard from him. They thought agents had taken him. That's until he called this morning.
It feels good. We've been waiting for him all night. It's inhumane what they're doing. They're just here working, living, trying to make a living, and they're just here tearing families apart and terrorizing. He's not coming back here. That's for sure. He's not coming back.
She thinks there are still more people hiding, scared to come out and being detained by agents.
Wait, are they on the roof of that facility? Like snipers?
Also spoke with Karen Martinez, who shared this video. It was recorded by her boyfriend, who tried to hide on the roof, tried to escape from those agents,
He was trying to
but
hide
ended
on
up
the
being
roof.
one of the dozens who was arrested.
He was sending me the videos, trying to, escape from them. I was scared that he was gonna go through, those facilities. Like, I was thinking what he's gonna eat there, like he's gonna be treated well or not. All these people are hardworking people, and they have families.
And that's one thing I will agree with. They are hardworking people. They are hardworking people.
Officials say 10 undocumented minors, including 8 who were unaccompanied, were also arrested during the operation that drew several hundred protesters. You see them there. There was clashes with officers, demonstrators throwing rocks and bottles, and agents and members of the National Guard deploying tear gas and rubber bullets on the crowd. This morning, the FBI also offering a $50,000 reward for information on this man you see here. They say he appeared to fire a pistol at federal officers yesterday. They say once he is found, he will be convicted. They've also warned.
He will be convicted? So no, what if he's what if he's a U.S. citizen? No due process?
That anyone who tries to interfere with the job and the operations that these ICE agents are doing will be arrested and will face federal charges. As we come back at our live, the Customs and Border Protections officials telling us this morning, Frank and Jessica, that they served an executive search warrant at this facility behind me. It's now under investigation for child labor violations. This, of course, as we're waiting to hear back from officials who run this facility. It's unclear how many workers or protesters were arrested yesterday. We'll send it back to you.
How convenient that they don't let anybody know how many were detained or arrested. And, I was thinking with a lot of these companies having a lot of their workers, they're not going to have a lot of their workers. How many of these companies are going to end up moving out of the United States? That is... So I did have an article that I wanted to read. I don't think I'm going to read the whole thing, but because it's pretty long, but I will put the link in chat. So cannabis farm worker in California dies day after chaotic federal immigration raid. The manager of one farm, Edgar Rodriguez, a U.S. citizen, said he was handcuffed, thrown to the ground, and had his arm twisted behind his back after he asked to see a warrant. A U.S. citizen. So clearly, because of the way he looked, his physical appearance, he was handcuffed, thrown to the ground, and his arm twisted behind his back for asking to see a warrant. Oh, Chi says, I will be applying for a job at Glasshouse Growers. I can't pass up the opportunity to work for a large grow op. The networking alone would be worth it. That is a good point. Nanny says, in Tennessee, average pay for teachers is between $51,000 yearly. Some less, some slightly more. That's not enough. It's not enough. All right. Ooh, he filmed. Let's see. He filmed his interaction. So this manager, he Oh, my bad. Let me rewind it. I didn't realize there was
Show me
sound.
the warrant. Show me the warrant. Show me the fucking warrant. I'm a fucking citizen. Fuck you.
Wow.
Just asking you if you can please come out. I'll come out if you guys step back, dude. I have my passport and my license. I'm a citizen, man.
Just do me a favor. Can you put your arms right here? I just want to check you for weapons, okay?
For what, dude?
I just want to make sure.
Look at dude. Look at that. That's all I have. I don't have anything else, dude. For what, man? For what? I don't have anything, dude. I have my fucking wallet, and that's it, dude. Okay. I don't have any weapons, dude. I'm at work. You motherfucker.
All right, we're just gonna check you real quick,
dude.
Okay?
For what? Dude, I'm gonna I don't fucking have anything, dude. Don't fucking touch me. Okay, I can't.
Wow. It is awful. Yeah, I agree. Go live if you can to preserve evidence. And that's the thing. Like he has evidence of what happened between him and those agents. So a farm worker at Southern California cannabis farm died after being injured during a chaotic immigration raid by federal officers. The labor union did not provide the name of the employee of the Glass House Farms north of Los Angeles, but confirmed that the worker fell from a high something. They forgot a word. Federal agents lobbed less lethal weapons and tear gas at protesters who gathered outside the Camarillo grow house Thursday while employees were being rounded up and arrested inside. Aerial footage from NBC Los Angeles showed farm equipment being loaded up into tow trucks and people standing around in handcuffs. These violent and cruel federal actions terrorize American communities, disrupt the American food supply chain, threaten lives, and separate families, UFW President Teresa Romero said in a statement. At a cultivation center in Carpinteria owned by Glass House Farms, manager Edgar Rodriguez said federal officers assaulted and handcuffed him after he repeatedly asked them to identify themselves and provide a warrant. Rodriguez was standing behind a window when 10 unidentified men in fatigues arrived Thursday morning in unmarked cars and one armored vehicle. Rodriguez, a U.S. citizen, said he asked the men several times to identify themselves and provide a reason for arriving heavily armed. The officers refused and responded by saying they were, quote, not ICE, but did not specify which agency they were from. One of the officers can be seen in video obtained exclusively by NBC News attempting to coax Rodriguez outside by telling him he wouldn't be harmed. I'm just trying to talk to you. We're not here for you. We have a federal warrant. We have a right to be here. Please come out. I got you, the officer said as Rodriguez began to tentatively leave his post. Okay, so Juan Duran and his wife outside Glass. A relative was injured during an immigration raid. Once outside, tensions escalated. Rodriguez was led by the federal officers toward dumpsters, where the same officer who had told him not to worry slapped Rodriguez's cell phone from his hands. 2 other officers then pushed him to the ground. His phone fell, and voices can be heard arguing in the background. Rodriguez said he was handcuffed for more than an hour, and one officer twisted his arm behind his back. The officers knelt on his neck and head, and he began to lose feeling in his hands. He later went to a hospital covered in scratches and bruises. Rodriguez said he saw at least 10 employees get arrested, all of them in their 40s to their 60s. He said several had work visas and had been in the U.S. for more than 20 years. They were really scared. They kept saying they didn't do anything wrong, that they had visas. The indoor cannabis farm where Rodriguez works was one of 2 glasshouse properties raided by federal officers on Thursday. In Camarillo, about 40 minutes away, the other enforcement operation drew hundreds of protesters outside the 5.5 million square foot facility. This guy he's got his hands up. Oh, this guy got tear gas. He's pouring milk in his eyes. Some 200 people were arrested in the 2 operations. Okay, so Department of Homeland Security said in a statement, 200 people. At least 1 worker was critically injured during the raids, and others, including U.S. citizens, quote, remain unaccounted for, the United Farm Workers said. Employees were held on site for 8 hours or more. Several U.S. citizens were released only after agreeing to delete videos and videos. What? Let me read that again, because I read ahead. Several U.S. citizens were released only after agreeing to delete videos and photos of the raid from their phones. I hope before they did, they somehow posted it online or sent it to a friend. Yeah. Fascism, I agree. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information on a person who appeared to fire a pistol at federal officers. The U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles, Bill Asaley, said it occurred around 2:30 p.m. All right, we saw that. All right. So did I share this link in the chat? I don't think I did. Let me share this. If you want to read the rest of it, feel free. But we are going to move on to, because I've almost been live for 2 hours, but I want to get through what I had planned for y'all. Because this is important. And like I said before, I am learning a lot of things. And I still can't get over the fact that we now have a border czar. Like when I think of czars, I think of not the United States.
Concerns are growing this morning that tensions could flare again after an immigration raid at a cannabis farm in Camarillo turned violent. Families now trying to locate loved ones who were detained. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell is live in Camarillo and spoke with some concerned family members. Josh.
Philip, just an extremely emotional scene here. The minute that we arrived outside Glass House Farms, we met a sister and a wife of a man who works as a security guard here, George Redis. He is a disabled U.S. veteran. He is a U.S. citizen, and they are desperately looking for him. They haven't heard anything about his whereabouts from yesterday. They do say that he was taken in the raid. We want to show you a picture of 25-year-old George Redis, a U.S. Army veteran who his family again says is disabled. They saw via Air 7 yesterday that he was trying to leave the scene in his white vehicle. Take a listen to what his sister and then his wife told us.
I thought he was probably part of the protest, and he wasn't. He was trying to reverse his car. They broke his window. They pepper sprayed him. They grabbed him, threw him on the floor. They detained him. His wife's been trying to call and ask where he is. They don't know where he is. Apparently, no one associates with nobody. So now we don't know what to do. We're just asking to let my brother go. He's a U.S. citizen. He didn't do anything wrong. He's a veteran disabled citizen. It says it on his car.
And I just want to know where he's at because I have not seen him, and I heard from him since yesterday.
Oh my gosh. I need to look up something. Let's see. I wanted to see if there was any updates. All right, so it looks like, and I think this was from today. So there are no updates in relation to George.
And I called LA, and they keep saying that they're not going over there. And I just don't know where he's at. I've been up since 6 a.m. trying to call the sheriffs, the police department, Oxnard, Camarillo, Ventura, and I can't hear nothing. They say they don't know, they don't associate.
And as you heard,
and that's bull. They don't know.
From George Redis's wife, it's his daughter's birthday party tomorrow. She is desperately looking for George. She says that she has called every local police department, the sheriff's department. They don't know where he is. And so that's why the family is camped out here right now trying to find answers. But I want to show you a photo that is also related to this story. This photo came to us from CBP Commissioner Rodney Scott, something obtained during yesterday's raid. The CBP says that
And the fact that they're also blurring the eyes of these agents, no.
They found juveniles in this marijuana facility, almost all accompanied, and one juvenile, according to the CBP commissioner, was as young as 14 years old. Back here live, again, desperate family members continue to show up at the front gate here. We haven't really seen too many people go in this morning, and I can tell you they are looking for answers. They are trying to connect with other loved ones to see if anyone has any information on the individuals taken yesterday during that ICE raid. We have not seen any federal officials, and one associated with ICE or any of the enforcement operations out here so far this morning. Live in Camarillo, Josh Haskell, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Unbelievable. Oh, okay. I found an update on George. So it says officers pepper sprayed a disabled Officers pepper sprayed a disabled U.S. Army veteran who served in Iraq and works as a security guard at the facility. George Redis complied with federal officers when he arrived to check on friends and colleagues who might have been affected by the raids, but instead he was arrested on suspicion of assault. A hearing is scheduled Monday. He wasn't even a protester, Guadalupe Torres said of her husband, George Redis. They smashed his window, and after they smashed his window, they pepper sprayed him. Aerial footage, that just kind of goes into what we had already read. So they arrested him on suspicion of assault. And I hope that the aerial footage that was broadcast has that on it. Unbelievable. Absolutely. Like, this is atrocious. Teen drama Pookie. All right. So the last story I have in relation to the ICE raids, this isn't related to the Glass House Farms, but it is related to the ICE detaining the 71-year-old who is a U.S. citizen. I think it was in San Diego, if I remember correctly.
The latest video to send shockwaves from San Diego immigration court through the immigrant community is actually not of an immigrant, but a 71-year-old U.S. citizen named Barbara Stone.
I was surprised. It felt like an out-of-body experience.
Stone was handcuffed and held by federal agents for 8 hours on Tuesday, according to her family.
This is from the handcuffs, so I have a large bruise there. I feel mentally and psychologically traumatized.
In video of
and that's bullshit. But like that Borders are said, if they're suspicious of you, they can do whatever they want. And that's bullshit.
The incident, which was shared with NBC7, you see the moment tensions boiled over and an officer says Stone pushed her. She pushed me. Stone denies that. NBC7 made several attempts to contact ICE about the incident, but was referred to a different agency under the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Protective Service. And we've yet to hear back. NBC7 spoke with Stone's husband, Gershon Shafir, the day his wife was detained.
She is a soft-spoken person who was here to protect innocent refugees. And she is the last person in the universe who would hit an agent or interfere with their work.
Stone was at the court to observe proceedings and how the federal agents act, which is legal and, according to Ruth Mendez of Detention Resistance, a First Amendment right.
The fear is very, very here, and the volunteers that are showing up today are now coming knowing that there might be a risk of our own detention.
No charges have been pressed against Stone, but her family says her phone was confiscated. Mendez worries there will be invisible impacts like...
Of course it was confiscated. Like, this is what people need to be talking about.
People deciding not to volunteer. You hear an officer in the video suggest more people could have been detained.
Clear the way. Everybody's going to start getting detained. The message that it sent was very clear for us to be afraid to come back. And
that's like when teachers say, listen, if you don't all sit down, you're all going to get detention. And then when they sit down, you say, you know, it's a good thing you all didn't get detention because we could have given you all detention. Like, what? You're all going to get detained if you don't stop. Get the frick out of here.
Do the work that we're doing.
But Stone, for one, is determined to go back and continue that work.
We are all immigrants. We all came from other countries. I find it surreal.
Stone says she had to ask several times for a lawyer. We're still waiting to get more information from Homeland Security. Joey Safchik, NBC7.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay up.
They will give anyone an ICE job. It's a problem. Yeah, seems so. I mean, freaking arrogant a-holes and that can't even show their face. And that's the thing. You want to be an ICE agent? That's your choice. We don't need to protect you. No. It's bull crap. Yeah. If you aren't breaking the law, you are under no obligation to even speak with them. Oh, I said jacket. I thought it said job. Well, I will keep on this because this is not okay what's happening at all. All right, so we have three more clips. The death toll in the Texas floods has not changed that I know of. I checked before the live. It was the same, excuse me, as it was yesterday. Let me see. And I don't remember seeing an update this morning from local officials, but I'm guessing it's because they were at their Temu TED Talk today. So in Kerr County, there have been 121 deaths confirmed, so it did go up by one. More than 170 people are still unaccounted for. 170 people. So this has to do with looting, because I don't remember what clip it was, but there was someone that we heard from that had said the reason they didn't leave is because they were afraid of looting. And so here we have these scumbags who are now they now have looters who are exploiting and what's the word? Taking advantage of people who have lost everything. Everything. It's disgraceful.
It's been almost a week since the flooding disaster. Survivors, many of them are still in shock.
News 4 San Antonio's Karina Hollingsworth continues our team coverage tonight. She joins us.
And some of those who lost their homes that are now being vandalized, they may have lost family members, and the last thing on their mind is their home.
Live from a home on Waterfront Drive that was ripped apart. Karina?
Mandy, Jonathan, the owner of this home behind me told me he was not home during the night of the flood. He said he actually thought his neighbor was joking when he called to tell him that his home was underwater. But sadly, he wasn't. And he told me that nothing could have ever prepared him for what he saw when he got home.
What the hell am I going to do? You know, I'm 75 years old. Lost my wife.
Oh.
Now Hallman's wife died 8 months ago. He fears she wouldn't have survived the flood if she was home. The house, flooded with over 5 feet of water, currently has no floors and is filled with mud.
Our insurance company 2 months ago canceled all our flood insurance with no warning. They just sent letters out, we're not covering flood anymore.
Jeez.
So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
This poor guy.
Hallman feels the world is caging in on him and his neighbors as they try to pick up what's left of their homes. They've had to face an issue they never imagined: looting.
All our tools of that house, this house, somebody came through and stole all of it. That's our world. That's our world. There is no empathy for anybody.
With tears swelling in his eyes, Hallman walked through what was once his home.
That room right there was all the way back on this corner of the slab.
Thinking about the what ifs is hard for Hallman.
But I realize there are many people up and down this river that need help. So I'm alive.
Hallman doesn't know exactly where he's going to go from here. He's lived here for about 25 years, and you can see, as you can see behind me, his home is
25
completely
years.
in ruins. Now, I'm going to turn the camera so you can see where his neighbor's home actually collided into his. Now, Hallman says he does hope to one day rebuild his home here on over here, but he says if he does hope that a flood warning system is put in place. Reporting live in Kirk County, I'm Karina Hollingsworth.
All right, and I wanted to look up to see if, there were any other stories of this looting. And so the Daily Mail had an article, exclusive. Devastated Texas flood victims say looters are prowling their homes. And this was updated the 9th, which was Wednesday. Survivors of the catastrophic floods in Texas said they are now plagued with looters who are casing properties in a cruel attempt to take advantage of the devastation. Cruel, that's a great word. It is cruel. Homeowners like Kyle Hammock from Kerrville told Daily Mail he has been on alert after he noticed strangers snooping around his riverfront home. On Tuesday, Hammock was still shoveling mud that washed up from the floods, which have killed more than 110 people and have left at least 160 missing. So we now know it's 121 deceased, 171 missing. He said that he noticed tire tracks in the layer of dust left by the storms over July 4th that ravaged the hill country. They drove in and they're tried to cut across the yard, and they were getting stuck, so there's these giant ruts, he said about the looters. Hammock added that he fears potential looters are mixing themselves in with well-meaning strangers. There's been a handful of people that are up to no good, just checking stuff out. We had to run a couple of people out. Volunteers are walking up and down the banks of the Guadalupe River on his property in Cedar Point, just outside of Kerrville. But Hammock believes looters are mixing in with volunteers. They were just snooping. They're not searching. They're not cutting. After the water receded at the rental home owned by Hammock and his wife, the couple began cleanup efforts. They have already cut out wet sheetrock and taken out debris and ruined furniture. A flagpole that stood on the property was knocked down by floodwater, so Hammock decided to hang Old Glory on the storm-damaged wooden deck. I got the flag out of the mud and I washed it off and I hung it on our deck. Despite using screws to secure it, the banner was discovered to be missing after the night the intruders were at his home. But then, 24 hours later, the Star-Spangled Banner was returned to a neighbor, not to him. Marie says, thieves and liars are the worst. How could anyone steal, especially from people in despair? Exactly. They're scumbags. Absolute scumbags. The lowest of the low who exploit and take advantage of these types of tragedies. Yep. And to steal an American flag? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? The flag shows unity and strength, and we're going to rebuild. Despite the unwelcome visitors taking and then returning his property, Hammock did not want to bother police by reporting the incident. I think the law and everybody is pretty overwhelmed right now. With local law enforcement resources tied up trying to recover flood victims, Hammock believes the best thing to do is keep a shotgun by his side on his property. The Kerr County Sheriff's Office could not confirm whether they have received other reports of looting, and did not respond to Daily Mail's request. However, officials are warning locals about scams. The state attorney general has warned scammers and others will take advantage of this natural disaster to prey on victims. There are no words for how wrong it is that morally bankrupt people are trying to take advantage of Texans by using this tragedy to scam them. Paxton warned scammers who masquerade as contractors promising to help folks rebuild are incredibly common during disasters like this. He added price gouging is another common practice. Anyone who is victimized by scammers during the flood recovery is asked to report it to the AG's toll-free complaint line at 1-800-621-0508 or file an online complaint here. It's terrible. Oh, look, heavily redacted Epstein flight logs undermine DOJ. How about that? Ooh, actually, before we get to, I want to actually read this. Air India plane crash investigation. And then we'll get to, I have an update about the animals that have been rescued and how Caraville Pets Alive is helping families. Okay, so it says Air India plane crash investigation suggests pilots may have made a fatal mistake just after takeoff. Okay, I'm not going to read that headline. That's rude. The preliminary report into the deadly Air India crash that killed 260 people last month suggests the plane's engine's fuel cutoff switches almost simultaneously flipped from run to cutoff, starving the engines of fuel. Investigators' early assessments indicate no apparent fault with the Boeing 787 Dreamliner or its engines, but the report does not say how the switch could have flipped to the cutoff position on the June 12th London-bound flight from the Indian city of Ahmedabad. In aviation, the switches are used to start or shut down the engines that are typically left on during flight. When turned off, the engines would be starved of fuel. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner immediately began to lose thrust and sink down shortly after takeoff. Fuel supplies to the engines of the Air India jet were cut off apparently without either pilot having switched them off. One pilot can be heard on the cockpit voice recorder asking the other why he cut off the fuel. The other pilot responded that he did not do so. It did not identify which remarks were made by the flight's captain and which by the first officer, nor which pilot transmitted "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday" just before the crash. Okay, that was it. Here's the captain. He had over 10,000 hours of experience. It's bizarre. And then the first officer, co-pilot, just over had over 3,400 hours of experience. That's sad. That's really sad. Okay, so there's an update on that. Just a little detour. Marie says, I pray good will prevail over evil in Texas. Sometimes crisis and loss can bring communities together, which I think it is. I think it is. There's just these few, scum of the earth who take it as an opportunity to be a-holes. Sometimes the hardships in life bring us to new chapters with better than we hope for. True. Okay, so we have this clip is about the Caraville Pets Alive. So Central Texas organization reunites, rescues pets lost during recent floods. And I tried to set up a fundraiser for the Caraville Animal or Pets Alive, but it wasn't listed. So I suggested to YouTube that they add them to their list. And there is the link for Caraville Pets Alive. I just posted in chat. All right, So here we go.
The floodwater rushed down the Guadalupe River. It also claimed dozens of lives and tore down homes and businesses in its path. Many of those homes with pets that were inside. That's where we find Madison Sawyer this morning with the search and rescue efforts underway for those animals.
I saw, I stopped at my parents today and my nephew was there and he's like, you know, Aunt Emmy, do you go on TikTok? And I was like, yeah. So of course I went on TikTok. I saw one of the TikToks was this rescuer, one of those out, you know, helping to find the missing, had rescued a little teeny turtle out of the debris, and he was carrying this little turtle to bring it, you know, wherever. It was the sweetest thing ever. Just this little turtle that needed help.
And all of those furry friends that need to be reunited, hopefully with their families, or just a grieving of comfort or something to be able to say goodbye to those pets that are lost. Madison, good morning.
Yeah, they call him man's best friend for a reason. We know of reports of hundreds of dogs and cats that are missing amid the flood that happened just 5 days ago. And there's a group of volunteers that are steadfast in their determination to walk this 26-mile stretch of the Guadalupe, searching those debris piles, not just for those loved ones, but for the pets that were also lost.
This is kind of the hub for all pet resource and recovery here in Kerr County. For the 40-mile stretch really of the river.
The goal of Kerrville Pets Alive is to search for, rescue, doctor, and reunite pets caught in the flood with their owners.
Do you have something to say to the folks?
We created an amazing spreadsheet, and it's got all the lost and found reported pets with photos, ID, and all.
Some pet.
Oh, and let me rewind that a little because I was awing and oohing over the kitten. She had mentioned something has a list.
Spreadsheet, and it's got all the lost and found.
Let me go back a little more.
And reunite pets caught in the flood with their owners.
Do you have something to say to the folks?
We created an amazing spreadsheet, and it's got all the lost and found reported pets with photos, ID, and all.
Some pet owners having to make heartbreaking decisions.
And that's basically people coming back to the devastated home sites and realizing they can't take care of their pets.
But even days after the flood.
So she just came running up to you?
Yeah.
Pets are being found alive within the debris-filled flood zone.
To hear that we've got some live animals.
And I feel like a lot of them are probably going to be, I mean, that little dog didn't seem scared, but a lot of them are going to be scared and not sure where they're at, confused. So I'm so glad that these organizations are out there helping to also locate these animals.
Coming in is just truly joyous.
Moments of hope amidst tragedy.
This cat was found in a storm drain near HEB here in Kerrville.
Stories of healing and resiliency.
And then looked over and saw a dog slip out of a culvert that was waterlogged. The dog did recover, and we were able to reunite that dog with their owner.
I shared him. He was on my short that I shared. Aww. And he was in rough shape, and they got him cleaned up, and
man's best friend, tragically, sometimes the only tangible connection to their beloved family.
We had a family that, unfortunately, their whole family they were all lost, but we found their dog, and so we were able to get their dog back to Houston, where the remaining family lives. That was the only thing that was left from the family, and just to be able to give that back to them, and I hope that that is healing in some way.
The stories happening at Kerrville Pets Alive.
His name is Moose. We finally found his owner last night about 11 o'clock, and he's coming to pick him up today.
Yay.
Inspiring giving.
Oh my goodness, sweetie, what have you been through?
Generous giving.
We had to get a shipping container, basically, because we have so many donations.
That is incredible. Like, look at that. They have FedEx truck, like, just loaded with stuff. This looks like, yeah, U-Haul. So that must be where they're keeping stuff. But that's incredible. Incredible.
Truckload after truckload of donations being unloaded.
And what did you name it? Lucky.
All to support their efforts to reunite families with their four-legged friends.
Are you excited to see your daddy? He's glad to see you.
I'm glad he's back. Appreciate y'all for holding them for me.
That's great.
Now, you heard there how they have been just kind of overrun with donations and generosity, folks wanting to chip in to the efforts that they're doing here on the ground in Kerrville. They actually are asking, before you go to Chewy or Amazon and get them something on their wish list, instead to consider donating monetarily to their efforts. That will help them to figure out exactly what their needs are once they're able to literally take inventory of all the donations they've received and then meet the needs as they come in.
I'm glad she said that, because I was in my head, I was thinking about what I would be buying from their Amazon wish list. So I'm glad she said that.
I bet so many of those displaced families are just hoping to find their furry little friend there at the shelters and hopefully be able to bring them back home safely. So, Madison, thank you so much for bringing us that story.
And I'm wondering, because San Antonio was also hit by flooding. I'm wondering if they have... Oh, here we go. San Antonio Humane Society. They don't have anything. Let's see. Okay, so it says... So it seems like San Antonio animal control centers have actually transported their animals elsewhere to free up space for those in the hill country. Oh, here, Animal Care Service 1 day ago. Let's see, what's this say? So these freaking ads. No, I don't want to join. Go away. Animal Care Services joins flood recovery efforts in Hill Country, supporting pets in need. So that's ACS. I thought it was Animal Control Centers, because that's what it's called in New York. Animal Care Services has stepped up and joined in on recovery efforts for communities throughout the Hill Country. On Thursday, Councilman Rick Galvin joined with Animal Care Services to provide support for the Williamson County Animal Shelter, making room for displaced pets needing to be reunited with their families. Today was a powerful reminder of what community really means. San Antonio came together to support not just our own local shelter, but also the families and animals impacted in the Hill Country. This is the kind of collaboration and compassion we need more of. The District 6 City Council office, that doesn't make any sense. The District 6 City Council office to help care for the transferred pets, support local shelter operations, and highlight the need for community support. Look at that water. Compassion is always amplified with collaboration, and we enjoyed working side by side with District 6 today to help these dogs and cats in need. While San Antonio pets will always be our first priority, we are proud to work with volunteers in our community who step up in times of crisis. Those looking to help are encouraged to become foster caregivers for pets in need, taking strains off of local shelters, or by contributing financially to rescue nonprofits and shelters. More information for supporting animals in need affected by the Hill Country floods can be found here. Oh, so click on this. Animal Care Services. Okay, so I'll drop this link too. I don't see anything about, I thought it was going to be more than just their page. I thought there was going to be something related to the floods. All right, so let's get back over here. Do they have Helping Paws? I haven't heard of Helping Paws. Helping Paws. There might be Helping Paws in New York. Oh, there actually is one. There's one about like maybe an hour and a half from me. But it's helping. Oh, actually, the rescue that was a vet clinic. So the actual Helping Paws rescue. Let me see. Oh, New York City. That's where it is. Actually, it looks like Long Island. Yeah, so downstate. All right, so the last story I have is about a little boy who got stuck in a claw machine. And my slide is all screwed up. It's a little off center, but that's okay. Okay, you adopted through Helping Paws of Maine. Okay, so here's the kid. And so it said kid climbs into claw machine at Ohio Community Center. So this is going to be the last story for tonight. Scary, but much less heavy than what we've been talking about. I have not watched this yet, so this is going to be interesting. And actually, I need to fix this slide. Give me 1 second. That is, it's going to bother me. It's off center. It's going to bother me. Okay. Here we go. All right. So let's take a look at, hopefully Sunnyside is still listening, and because Sunnyside wanted to see this. All right. Oh my gosh, that's just surveillance camera. He crawls up there. Okay, so here comes a guy. A guy just walks by. Oh, he did look, and he's like, oh, there's a kid in there. Oh, look, the lights just started going off. That's hilarious. Oh my God. So good. They did unplug it. That's good. That's good. Oh my goodness. I wonder if I can find, I didn't realize it was just video. I'm going to try to find an article too. They don't have too much else about it, but oh my gosh, can you imagine? So he got in and couldn't get out. You know, they should give him all those toys, or at least let him take one thing out. They should give him at least one stuffy. And you'd think that they'd have some type of safeguard, because you've seen it before where, you know, kids have crawled up into these types of machines and then they can't get out. That's wild. So it just says, I did find one article from Fox News. Ohio boy crawls into claw machine, gets stuck, rescued with pride, bruised but unharmed. A young Ohio boy found himself in a, quote, claustrophobic situation this week after he crawled inside a stuffed animal claw machine at a suburban community center and got stuck. First responders were called in to fish him out. The incident took place at the Mason Community Center, about 25 miles northeast of Cincinnati. Surveillance video shows the boy walking up to the machine, opening the prize chute, and crawling inside head first. Moments later, he was surrounded by stuffed animals and completely stuck. City of Mason video showed bystanders quickly noticing the boy's predicament and alerting staff. Workers unplugged the machine and wheeled it into a nearby shop. First responders arrived shortly after and removed the child through the back of the arcade game. The child appeared to be unharmed. No word on whether he got to keep a toy. According to reporting from People and ABC News, police said no charges were filed and there was no damage to the machine. Fox News Digital could not reach the City of Mason Police Department for comment. Let's see if I can find anything. I saw are the parents I would assume were there. You probably let's see. So this is People magazine. On Monday, July 7th, around 1 p.m., first responders within the city of Mason, Ohio, were called to the Mason Community Center after a small child entered a claw machine. In the video, the boy was seen walking near the machine. The frame then cut to a clip of him halfway inside the chute with his legs sticking out. A man walking by appeared to notice the child before he fully entered the unit. Later footage showed a first responder pushing the claw machine into a nearby store where the gate was closed so that they could work in privacy. Several police and fire officials assessed the situation and helped the child exit the back of the machine. After his rescue, he jumped to safety into someone's arms. The latest claw machine rescue certainly doesn't mark the first time a child has gotten stuck in one of the popular arcade units. Back in February 2024, a 3-year-old boy in Australia was rescued after climbing into the prize dispenser of a Hello Kitty claw machine to secure a toy. At the time, Queensland police revealed that the adventurous child named Ethan crawled up into a toy machine at a shopping center. To help him out, police broke through the machine's glass window. The boy's father, Timothy Hopper, carried him to safety. Here's a story you don't hear very often. I'll share this one on the screen with y'all. So this was 2024. These ads. Pennsylvania officials rescue groundhog stuck in claw machine at mini golf course. An unusual prize. Can you imagine? Oh my God, he's so cute. And you can't even tell he's not supposed to be there. That is so cute. He wanted to be snuggly. A Pennsylvania miniature golf course claw machine got an unexpected upgrade. Live prizes. Employees at the Meadows Family Fun Mini Golf in Duncansville, Pennsylvania, discovered a live groundhog in one of the facility's claw machines on August 6th. The Pennsylvania Game Commission, South Central Region, received a call about the unusual prize, which startled the workers of the mini golf course. Who doesn't love the claw machine game? They have the best prizes, from a cute stuffed animal to a football, or maybe rubber duckies or a groundhog. Wait, what? It is unclear how the wild animal entered the claw machine, but it could not exit until State Game Warden Salvador Zafudo assisted the critter. When Warden Zafudo responded and approached the machine, he saw a wave of stuffed animals move as the groundhog scurried around underneath. Then it popped its head out to assess the situation. Oh my gosh. The social media went on to detail the rescue, sharing that a vending machine company had to be called to open up the claw machine. Once the Fudo had access to the machine, he safely captured the groundhog from among the plush toys and released the animal back into the wild. Oh, look at him. He's so cute. That claw machine isn't very full, unless this was probably maybe after they got rid of some of the stuff. The Pennsylvania Game Commission included photos of the incident in its post. In the pictures, the groundhog is nestled amongst dozens of stuffed animals, sometimes pressed against the plastic surrounding the claw machine. The curious groundhog is not the first animal to end up in an unusual spot this month. On August 2nd, the Greensboro Police Department received a call about a 9-foot Burmese python blocking a woman from entering her car in an office building parking lot. No, thank you. No, thank you. All right, y'all. Well, that was interesting. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I do appreciate it. I know I went a little over my 2 hours, but I learned a lot, and these stories were important. So, if you have not hit the like, please do so on your way out. If you were able to get through this entire live and are watching on the replay, #replay. And I don't plan on going live tomorrow, but you never know. So make sure you are subbed if you aren't, so that your notifications are on. Although YouTube seems to be glitching, because my sister had posted a video this morning and it said that it was posted 55 years ago. So I don't know what's happening. I also see some, like smaller creators getting more views on their streams than Ikadmel. Someone had like 50,000 views on a video about ice. 6,000 views on a baseball game. Like a local baseball game. It's weird, but 55 years. She sent me a text message. She's like, I was like, YouTube is screwing up, because even my shorts don't get like thousands of views, but they usually get like, 200 to 300 views. And my shorts yesterday, one of them had 12 and another one had like 30. I'm like, something's not right. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but it's bonkers. And I was getting notifications for some creators from like 3 weeks ago. Like, what? Unless they unprivated a live, but it was just bizarre. YouTube is whack. It's wacky. So have a great night. If I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.
You have one shot on stage, what you got to play? Generic drops for days, still the people rage. Am I not insane? Can you stop and explain why these drops are so lame? Is money buying you fame? I'm fucking on, I'm killing it with this song. You haters can sing along or go back where you belong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving up, moving on. Cause I took your girl to prom, she can't help but sing this song. Comes off till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. And my hyper raps, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. And my hyper raps, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. So on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want want that body bad. Come on baby, bring it back. I'm so gone, faded off a 30 rack. She's so on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad. Come on baby, bring it back. I rap with a passion, yeah, I got it in me. I've been waiting quite a long time for y'all to hear me. It's about damn time you put some stock into me. You're either sponsoring me or fucking bothering me. And the fact is, we just practice on this madness. That is why our status is like a canvas. Chances our advancement is enhancing, and this new expansion's like a mansion. Comes off till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. And my high progress, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. And my high progress,